Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Luke Mick, and what is upon us? Yet another Barnes & Noble Criterion Collection sale. Am I the only one that thinks that they put these sales way too close together? I don't mind it being in July. It's a good time of the year where there aren't many other sales happening. But then they drop the other one right in the Black Friday zone where everyone's trying to have a sale. And there just isn't enough time in between them to really warrant another sale, if you ask me. So in this video, I just want to recommend and maybe bring to light some of my personal favorite films in the entire Criterion collection. These aren't necessarily brand new 2020 releases. They're just releases spanning the entire collection that I think should be noted and that I'd just like to share with you. Also, I did a recommendation video just like this back in July, or maybe it was August. So if you want more recommendations from me, you can check that video out. The link will be down below and probably up here somewhere. And let's get into these recommendations with the first film. In my hands is Funny Games by Michael Haneke. This is kind of a difficult film to watch for a couple of reasons. It's essentially about a family who goes to their cabin for a weekend getaway, and while they're there, they meet these two young boys who introduce themselves as like family members of their neighbors, and you know, everything's going fine, but it turns out these two characters are not who they say they are, and they decide to torture this family throughout the night. And it's a very disturbing film. And it's very bleak. It leaves you feeling very defeated by the end of it. And in that way, it is polarizing because it is a very much so a downer film. But another thing that Funny Games does is it breaks the fourth wall quite a bit. And I know that that aspect of the film is kind of the breaking point for some people with this, because that's really the most bizarre thing about it, is how it handles breaking the fourth wall and what it does with that. And personally, watching it, I've seen it once, and watching it the time I watched it, I thought that, you know, it is a little odd. It doesn't feel out of place per se, because that's kind of what makes Funny Games Funny Games. That's what stands out about it, really. That's kind of the point of the film per se. So it's something that doesn't bother me, really, and overall, I thought the whole experience was dreadful and just terrible, and I was just really sucked into it, and it just made me feel awful, which is kind of the intention of the film, but it also leaves you thirsty for more violence and you know, expecting more violence and expecting things to go a certain way, but maybe they don't. Yeah, Funny Games. It's a very polarizing film in some ways. I get why, but I personally really enjoyed it, and if you want to watch a twisted movie that's kind of difficult to sit through, at least for me, then check out Funny Games. Next one I have here is a Romanian film, Graduation, directed by Criterion Marathon. I think that is how you pronounce his name. I say that a lot in my videos. I'm always like, I think that's right, but I could be wrong. Graduation is a more recent film. It came out in 2016. Like I mentioned, it's Romanian, and it's kind of a drama thriller. It's about a man, a doctor, who is having an affair with his wife. He's really pressuring his daughter to do well on her exams, to go to a good college and get out of Romania, because he and his wife have lived there their entire lives, and they just want a better future for their daughter. But she is actually sexually assaulted right before her big exams, and the movie takes place over just a couple of days as this father and doctor is juggling all of these different stresses
in his life.
And Graduation was a film that was just so naturalistic and real feeling. The whole world and the town and the characters all just felt so lived in. It felt like we were really getting a glimpse into this community and into this man's life as everything around him is just falling apart and going crazy. This film really throws a lot at the main character, and it just creates such a tense viewing experience. I remember that a lot of the shots would just stay on the actors for a very long time. It would very rarely cut away from conversation, if ever. Extremely long takes in Graduation. So if you're really into films that give the actors their full range to do whatever they want, really long takes, and just a lot of well-written, realistic dialogue, then you'll definitely enjoy Graduation. It was a very tense film that gripped me from start to finish, and I would really like to watch. I do have it, actually. I'm going to have to stand up to get it. This director has at least one other film in the Criterion collection, and this one honestly sounds even better than Graduation. It is 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days, and this is about a couple, I think, having to make a decision on an illegal abortion, and this is his most well-known film, and I am very much looking forward to watching it because Graduation really promised a lot for this filmmaker for me. So Graduation, not 4 months, 3 days, and 2 weeks. Whatever I said there. Graduation. True Stories, directed by David Byrne. If you keep up with the channel, you'll know that I pretty recently talked about this film in another video, and I just want to come back to it and say that over the last couple of months since I watched it, it's really started to grow on me. I've been listening to the soundtrack by the Talking Heads, of course, and listening to the soundtrack or scores for films always brings you back into the experience of that film, and that's why I love listening to film scores and soundtracks, of course. And in the case of True Stories, it just really helped me appreciate the movie more. It makes me think about certain scenes of the movie more. I love just the overwhelming positivity and optimism in True Stories. It's a very cute film, and if you're a Talking Heads fan like me, this is definitely a must-buy, especially if you have not seen the film and you enjoy the Talking Heads. You gotta see this movie. I'd recommend it. It's a good musical, too, because it is technically a musical. Someone's mowing their lawn out there, and it's kind of obnoxious, but we're going to keep on moving, I guess. Sounds like it's having troubles. The microphone is probably picking that up.
But True Stories.
Hey, are you enjoying this video? Well, if you are, you should go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell as well to be notified whenever Luke Mick posts a new video. You can also find Luke Mick on Letterboxd, where he oftentimes writes reviews or logs the movies that he's been watching. And if you want channel updates, you can also go to his Luke Mick YouTube Instagram page, where he provides updates for the channel and just posts other weird, goofy pictures and things like that. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, just follow the instructions. Links for everything are down below, and enjoy the rest of this video. And everybody. Up next is Punch Drunk Love, starring Adam Sandler and Emily Watson, of course directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. This is one of my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson films, for sure. It's really difficult, though, to choose favorites with that guy, because he almost always puts out just amazing work. Almost always. Punch Drunk Love is Adam Sandler's, from what I know, first big dramatic performance. He only has a small handful of them. I believe this was the first. Punch Drunk Love. If you haven't seen it and maybe you saw Uncut Gems and really enjoyed Adam Sandler's dramatic performance in that, you definitely have to see Punch Drunk Love. He is just amazing in this movie. It is an incredibly hectic and chaotic film, but it's also very romantic and sweet at the same time. It also has a wonderful, as always, performance from Philip Seymour Hoffman, and the score, too. I love the score for Punch Drunk Love. It really adds to the tedium of Adam Sandler's life and just the amount of different stress factors that are just toppling upon him. It's a very exciting, fast-paced romance film, if you will, and it's just, it's one of the Adam Sandler greats. So, Punch Drunk Love, I'd highly recommend it. I love this film, I truly do. Alright, we have two more films here. The one that I have in my hands, the second to last one, is Woman in the Dunes by Hiroshi Teshigahara. This is one of the best films in the Criterion Collection. I kid you not. I'm not lying to you. If you haven't heard of Woman in the Dunes, listen to me or look into it and watch it as soon as you can. I watched it for the very first time this past summer. It is in one of my Criterion Marathon videos. I talk about the film at pretty great length because I was so affected and jarred by it as a reaction to the film. And I love this film so much. I watched it 3 times within the span of 1 month, and it's a 2.5 hour long movie, so that's not exactly an easy task. I watched it one weekend and immediately went back and watched the Blu-ray again a second weekend, and then I learned of a 35mm screening of the film at a local movie theater in my area, and I thought, There's no way I can miss it. Sure, I've seen the movie twice in the past couple of weeks, but I have to take this opportunity to see it on 35mm. So I watched it 3 times in a month. I don't know what that says, what that should mean for all of you. It just means that I really like the movie, and
maybe you all won't really like the movie,
but I loved it. Woman in the Dunes is a great film about isolation and coming to terms with the situation that you're in. It's really hard for me to put into words what I want to say about Woman in the Dunes without going into anything spoilery or without just ruining some of the surprises that this film has to offer. All you should know is that the cinematography, the nature cinematography is breathtaking and gorgeous. It's a very meticulous, methodical film that you really get sucked into it. It's a long film, like I said, which you kind of have to be in the mood for. But if you are in the mood to watch a film like this and you're ready for a long ride, it's something that if you're like me, you'll get really sucked into like quicksand. It's a wonderful film that allows so many different interpretations for what is happening and what the themes of the film are, and I just couldn't recommend it enough. If you're looking for something very smart, methodical, and subtly unsettling, you have to watch Woman in the Dunes. I'd highly recommend this film. In my top 3 of the entire collection, I'd have to say. So, very much recommend it. If you see it and it sounds good to you, grab it. I hope you won't be disappointed. And the last film that I have that I would like to recommend for this video is Tampa. This is a wonderful, feel-good film. It's a very funny film. It's an underdog story. I've watched it a couple of times now, and it's a very comforting, homey film. Like, I just feel like I could just put it on whenever, and it would just lighten the mood and just make me feel at ease, at peace. It's such a nice film. It's a film about cooking.
My name is Jeff.
It's kind of like a cowboy story in a way. There are a lot of little shorts, food-related shorts that are unrelated to the overarching story, but tie in, of course, with the theme of the beauty of food and cuisine. It's a great film. I love Tampa. It's full of color. It's got such a rich, sweet energy to it. I love all of the lead characters. Everyone just really delivers it in this film. It's so funny. On the back here, it even does call it a ramen western. So if that sounds good to you, if you want to watch a light Japanese comedy about making food, about making ramen and cowboys and shit like that, I just really like Tampa. You know, I watched it for the first time about 2 years ago, and I think since then a lot of people have really been discovering it and opening up to watching this film, and it's been popping up on more people's radars, I think, throughout the years. But I just want to go in and say and solidify that, yes, I do agree. I love Tampa. It's one of my favorite go-to films in the collection. I'd highly recommend it if what I described to you is something that sounds good to you. So that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Please do let me know down in the comments if you're going to be buying any films for this Criterion sale, which ones you want to pick up if maybe you haven't gone out already. Personally, I might grab just a couple here and there, but I'm definitely not going to go all out like I did during the summer because, like I said in the beginning, it's just kind of too soon for me to be buying a bunch of Criterions again. I'm still trying to catch up with all the stuff I already purchased. So, Barnes & Noble, please consider either moving the July sale back a couple of months or moving this November one forward. I think it'd be really nice to have these sales spaced out a little bit more. That's just a personal opinion, but they can do whatever they want. It's their company. So, anyway, yes, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you are interested, hit that subscribe button and like the video. That would really help me out, and I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you again, and I will talk to you later.
My name is Jeff. Donkey!